Hey guys, this is Clay's Chevys, and this is in response to Louis Matarazo. I believe I said your name correctly. He had a thing out there on YouTube where he wanted to know about us personally, and how do we find time to model, and why we model. Well, about us personally, I'm an Army brat. I was born in Paris, France. My dad was a lonely GI stationed in France. So I'm half Chinese, half French. That's a weird combination, I know. Grew up all over the place. Last place we grew up, where I grew up at, was in Hawaii, where my dad was originally from. We moved back there in '67 when he went to Vietnam, and I was in elementary school. So I went to the latter part of elementary school, junior high, high school, and I'm also a graduate of the University of Hawaii. My educational background, after high school I was accepted to all 5 academies: Air Force Academy, Navy Academy, the Army Academy, West Point, Merchant Marines, Coast Guard. Accepted the Naval Academy. I wanted to be a pilot. I always wanted to be a pilot, and after one semester, I got bounced out. English is a second language. Growing up in Hawaii, you know, pidgin English just killed us. So I ended up graduating from the University of Hawaii in 3.5 years so I could get commissioned with my peers in the Navy. And we had 2 ROTC programs. One was Air Force, one was Army. All my high school buddies were in the Army ROTC program, so I went in with that. And being young and dumb, I did all those crazy things like airborne school. And then 3 days after graduating from airborne school, I went to Ranger school, blew out a knee, so I didn't graduate there. Been to Recondo school, and then got commissioned in December of '79 as a second lieutenant. First duty station was, or first Army post I went to was Fort Knox, Kentucky, to the Armor Officers course. And I went through the cavalry officers track, so I was a cav officer. Let me take my hat off so you can see my beautiful face a little better. Right after graduating from Fort Knox, I went to Fort Rucker, Alabama, and I trained to be an Army pilot. I was a helicopter pilot. Flew Hueys, 58s, you know, Hueys, UH-1s, and OH-58s, Kiowas, little observation helicopters. And then when I got stationed up here in Fort Lewis in '85, went through a transition and became a Black Hawk pilot. Married. I married my high school sweetheart. We actually waited to get married. Sorry about that. I should have done some proper planning. Memory card was full, so I don't know how much got cut off. I'll edit this after. But I went to flight school, became a Huey pilot. And then I've flown 58s, OH-58s, the observation aircraft, and then later transitioned to UH-60 Blackhawks. Married my high school sweetheart. This year we'll make 35 years we've been married in August, and in November we'll make 40 years we've been together. So we've been around a while. I'm a lot, not a lot, but I'm a few years older than Dr. Cranky, and it seems like I'm older than most of the guys I see on YouTube. Even Detroit Muscle. He's talking about he's born in 1959. Well, I got you beat. I was born in '57. You know, good year for Chevys. Was stationed out here in 1985 in the Great Northwest. So even though I'm from Hawaii, you know, shaka bra, been living up here off and on since 1985. Even after a tour in Korea, and then going back to Fort Rucker for a 3-year tour there as a senior captain. I was there during the Gulf War in Fort Rucker. They emptied out the posts of every pilot we had. Anybody who could walk, talk, and chew gum at the same time went, except for me. They considered me to be in a position that they needed somebody in, so I didn't get to go. I was a research analyst at that time, and I was one of the guys who studied all the simulation devices we use for aircraft, you know, aircraft simulators. And my specialty was working on, even though I never flown them, was an Apache. And I dealt with the weapon system simulators and some of the flight simulators. Um, while I was there at Fort Rucker, got a master's degree. I have a master's degree in systems management. Basically, everybody thinks of computers. It's nothing to do with computers. It has to do with more statistical analysis, research, whatnot. And it's something you would probably use in a large manufacturing plant or something you would use in the Army as a research officer. So I have that. Got off active duty in '92, and was promoted to major in the reserves. Didn't participate in the reserves, and they finally retired me as a major. So I'm a retired major in the reserves. Currently, I am a letter carrier, or a mailman, as you would call it, and have been I just turned 20 years last week, so I'm eligible to retire again from the post office. My kids are grown. I have a daughter living in Louisiana, down in the south, and she's 31, and my son is 29. He was living in Hawaii, but has since, with his grandparents, has since moved back. So while he was gone, my wife is an executive with a major health insurance company. So we kind of do our own things because we're busy lives. So I started building models again. Now, I first started building models when my dad came back from Vietnam. It must have been about 1969 or so. I'd been about 11, 12 years old. And I had a paper route, delivered one of these weekly newspapers. So I got paid, hold on while I let the dog out. So I got paid, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks, something like that. It's not much for delivering the papers. And we'd go down to local Ben Franklin or Crest stores or Holiday Mart in our area. And, you could buy a kit in those days for like $1. And you could buy testers, the quarter-ounce bottles, for like 5 cents. As a matter of fact, back here, I think I purged most of them. But I still got a couple that are listed at 10 cents, 5 cents, 15 cents, 30 cents, So as I open them and I see what condition the paints are, I started chucking them and getting some new ones. And I've actually turned more to acrylics. So as I said, my son, he left, so I had to find something to do with my time. I had quit being our secretary-treasurer in our union branch, so I had a lot of free time. I was doing stuff with our church. I run the website, and I do the videography of the pastor's sermons, and I put them on the website and all that good stuff. So I was looking for something else to do. So one of the first things I saw, I got on the YouTube, because YouTube's great to learn anything. And some of the earliest people I saw was Fast Jimmy in his chicken grease garage. And he was showing how to put custom paints on and award-winning paints and stuff like that. And if you're on YouTube, they always have a bar on the side that says related videos. And I'd see some names, so I click on it. And one of the other names was our buddy Dave Parker. So I was watching a lot of Dave Parker. And then you watch Dave Parker, and all of a sudden I'm connected to Dr. Cranky. And then I started, Dr. Cranky after that was Classic Plastic, and those guys, especially like Dr. Cranky and Classic Plastic, they just blew me away. Classic Plastic in particular, I mean, he can go from one day building the Hawaiian to the next day building the Enterprise, to the next day making the female alien, it was just unbelievable. Or the female, wasn't the alien, was the Predator. And then building the alien. And as I started watching them, I also made some friends with some guys over in Australia. XRLN, Chris out there, man, his work is unbelievable too. And DJ Scratchy, Matthew Ford builds some unbelievable cars, unbelievable. And then you start picking up guys like Atomic Dog and Model Car Garage, Matt. Hope you're doing better, Matt. Styrene Junkie down the road from me in Oregon. Detroit Muscle 59. We started watching some of his stuff. Raging Cajun, my veteran buddy down in the South. And then when Raging, we picked up Jack Ambergy, or Nick Ambergy. Nick Ambergy, yeah, right. Okay. And then Jan up in Canada. We started picking up all those kind of guys. And I started watching a lot of them just to watch what they're doing and to try to relearn the hobby, because I quit building probably in about 82 when my daughter was born, because it just got too hard to hide stuff from little hands around. And then my son was born a couple of years later, so, and I still got a lot of the models I was building at that time. Well, most of them were Tamiya. They were armor and miniatures and whatnot, because being in the military, we did a lot of, even professionally, we did wargaming, at all kinds of levels, division level, battalion level, brigade levels. And we played a lot of war games, squad leaders, stuff like that, just to learn tactics and keep up on stuff. So we did that kind of stuff. As a kid, when I first started building, I was building a lot of airplanes. I was really into flying. I really wanted to be a pilot. So, I had one of those bedrooms that was, the ceiling was full of planes hanging from there. There'd be a Revell P-51 Mustang chasing the Revell Stuka. And then on the other side would be the Revell F4U Corsair chasing a Zero. And then there'd be a B-17 dropping a load somewhere. And then I did the Revell helicopters. I had both the Huey and the Cobra gunship. And the Cobra gunship had I built the little 2.75 folding wing rockets coming out of the tubes with smoke trails coming out behind them. I did all that kind of stuff. And then started building tanks and stuff like that. And as I got a little older, got more into high school, I got into cars because of my dad was always buying and selling cars. He was in the car salesman. He was, matter of fact, he was a nurse. So he liked to tinker with cars. So one day I'd be driving a Volkswagen Bug. The next week I have a '67 Plymouth Belvedere. Following week I'd be driving a '72 Chevy Skylark, or a Buick Skylark, So I got into cars. So I built like the beer wagon that was big, Tijuana Taxi, those kind of stuff. And I actually like those novelty Tom Daniels type cars, that's what I built. So again, I didn't pick up the hobby for a long time, and to get back into it, I had to watch a lot of these guys that I mentioned earlier, just to learn the tricks. I mean, things have changed so much. Before, all you needed was some tester's paint, a brush, tester's glue. We never used like liquid glues and stuff. We had tester's tube glue, and to be careful, you use toothpicks, and thread as ignition wires. And now you look at the stuff that people do with photo etch and everything like that, and you go, oh my God, resin parts this, resin part that. They buy a $20 kit and got $300 into it. By the time they're done with all the add-ons, so it's unbelievable. So that's basically what I do, and I got a ton of models. I started out with the Hawaiian and the Chi-Town Hustler that Classic Plastic was doing, and I started watching his videos and trying to build my car at the same time, and I realized I was way in over my head. Those are skill level 3s, and I was nowhere near that. So I put them back on the shelf and started building a couple snap tights, but detail them, paint them real good and stuff like that. And now I'm building a couple 113s. What I want to do is I joined that Tom Clancy Memorial build, and I was going to build 113s, and I decided I was going to build a model of everything I ever driven or flown in my military career. So I've already got a Hobby Academy Blackhawk. I got a Dragon Huey. I've got a Revell 58. I got a bunch of other ones. So to go along with all these thousands of cars I got, gee. So my wife's about ready to kill me on that stuff. So this, I think I've rambled long enough. I just want to thank everybody that's out there in the community. I mean, some of your videos are just so helpful. Dr. Cranky, Classic Plastic, just those teaching videos. I learn a lot, Even guys like Fast Jimmy at the Chicken Grease Garage. I remember watching one of his earlier videos was how to build an Optima battery out of styrene tubing. And man, that was so interesting. So, and like people my age, we have grandkids. I hate mine. I tell people that all the time. I really hate my grandkids. My daughter, she dumped them on our doorstep. It must be about 9 years ago. And I really hate them. All they do is whine and cry. And then every once in a while they pee on the carpeting, So here's one of them. Say hello to Cubby. Yeah, he's a long-haired Chihuahua. Just like Igor. His tongue hangs out. He looks retarded, but he thinks he's a pit bull in a little skin. So All right, guys, I've rambled long enough. We'll see you on the tube. And again, thanks for all your help. Even though I don't comment a lot, I do watch you guys. I watch just about everything that's on there, and I do it at 5:30 in the morning when I'm on the treadmill. I got it on YouTube on my big screen TV, and I'm watching everybody. So, and to the people I do communicate with, we'll see you around. Happy Valentine's Day, and for us, happy enjoy your day off for President's Day for us Americans. So remember to treat your mailman nice. See you later.